Well, our next guest designs custom-made sneakers for the likes of Drake, The Weeknd, and Def Leppard. Here's the really cool part. It started with an after-school program aimed at restoring shoes for inner-city youth. Zac Vine is joining us from Victoria, BC this morning. Good to talk to you.
Good morning.
Explain to me the connection between your incredibly well-designed shoes and your after-school work.
Oh, sure. So originally, I was working with some inner-city youth, and they kept getting in a lot of trouble over their sneakers, whether their sneakers were being stepped on or scuffed, and there was a lot of conflict going on around it, and they were getting in a lot of trouble. So I decided, you know what, after school hours, I'm gonna take on the initiative to try to fix up these sneakers. So I started to go online and teach myself about how to restore sneakers, and the kids would start bringing in their sneakers, and I'd start taking out creases and scuffs and trying to make them look brand new again so they could stop getting in fights about it.
I love this idea, and I also love the fact that you've always been a doodler. You translate it into your work on these shoes, and then you put this on Instagram, and that's where someone very special took notice.
Yeah, indeed. So when I started posting my stuff on Instagram, I had a Roldis Chapman message me out of the blue, and I was absolutely stunned. I actually didn't even believe it was him originally. I asked him to send me another picture of himself just to prove it. So he sent me a picture of him and his kids at his pool, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. He said that he wanted a pair for himself and for his father, and that he would bring me down to Cincinnati to give him the shoes. So I got his shoe size, and I got some shoes in, and I started to just work on some designs that he would like. And then when I was all finished, I messaged him, and immediately he sent me some tickets to get down to Cincinnati. So got down there, and he brought me right down onto the field, brought me into the dugout, introduced me to the entire Reds team, which was just an incredible, incredible experience.
So from that, now you have designed shoes for people, as we mentioned, like Drake and Def Leppard. Do you design it specifically for them? Do they come to, or do you work with them at all to say, here's what I want on the shoe? Like this one by Drake is amazing.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so it all depends on really the person that I'm working with. Sometimes I'm working with like their management crew, and it's through a third party. And sometimes I get to work with the artist or the person directly, which is a lot of fun. Like, for instance, last summer when Def Leppard contacted me, Phil Collin, the lead singer, came right up to Vancouver. He brought his entire family. He spent a week up here, and we got to work together to recreate some sneakers to match some guitars that he did a few years back. So it was a lot of fun.
Okay, explain this to me, because you're still a teacher. How do you go from, you know, designing these incredible shoes for these really big celebrities and grading papers?
I know it's a little bit tough, to be honest with you, to manage both. But I've always found the painting kind of to be my zen, if you will. At the end of the day, it really helps me to relax and kind of unwind. I mean, when the world gets quiet and the kids go to bed, I really enjoy getting out the sneakers, and I do everything by hand. So it's quite relaxing for me, to be honest. It's kind of like that time when the whole world just kind of escapes me, and I can kind of focus in on just that. It's a really nice self-care thing to do.
It's probably hard to pick, but do you have a favorite pair? And would you ever leave teaching to do this full time?
I don't know if I'd leave teaching. I mean, I stepped away from teaching for several years to run this business, and got back into teaching just because I missed working with the youth so much. It's so much fun with working with kids and just seeing them learn and seeing them just become bright-eyed that I don't know if I'd ever step away from it. As for my favorite pair I ever did was probably the Flu Game Jordans that I did. It was an idea that came to me because of the iconic shoe itself. And then there's all of those images of Michael Jordan being carried off by Scottie Pippen. So when they re-released that shoe, I thought, you know what, I'm going to put the iconic image of Scottie and Michael Jordan on the shoe itself, and have the idea of one side it facing forward, and when you look at the other shoe, you're seeing the back of the two of them.
Must be a pretty big thrill for you and for your students. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Zac.
No problem at all. Thank you.